back to RABID Noise. Joining me on the show now is Frost from Satyricon. Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you so much.
Well, it's definitely a pleasure to have you on the program tonight. First off, I'd like to congratulate you on another killer album. That self-titled album was definitely one of the strongest releases of last year. And when it comes to the writing process for the album, what approach did you guys take this time around that may have differed from the recording sessions from your previous albums?
Well, it's usually like that. If you want to achieve something that differs from what you've done before, you also have to do things in a different way. And something we, in the writing and development process of this album, was to actually gather a band in our rehearsal studios to like be there all the time when material was written and developed. So Satyr was having me there accompanying him on drums, and for a major part of the sessions we also had the live guitar player Jill was there, so that we could test out, themes with two different guitar lines, and to try to make harmonies and that kind of stuff. And one of the huge benefits of working like that, having a band gathered rather than just sitting there with guitar and some recording, and then later presenting material.
Have you worked that way before? Like you've gotten other guys in when you're jamming out a material, or was that the absolute first that you've tried that?
No, like jamming for basically the entire album. That was new to us. We have never worked like that before, even if you had elements of it. But this time around, it was a chosen method that we were using from the very start of the process until we were finished with it. And I think that it helped creativity, and it made it possible to be much more flexible in the writing process. Like, if I came up with a good idea for a drum part, for instance, when we were jamming things forth, then Satyr could just alter the flow of things there and then to perhaps make more room for cool rhythmic solutions, for instance. So everything was definitely more dynamic and flexible in the writing process, and also the music ended up becoming more dynamic and progressive than Satyricon has ever been.
That's one thing that I noticed. I was discussing with a friend of mine about your latest album, and he's a really big fan of Satyricon, but also, the extreme metal genre in general. He's noticed that a lot of bands have been experimenting within that style and maybe becoming a little bit more progressive. Do you think that's just the general evolution of the style, or do you think that people are just starting to catch on with different writing techniques like yourselves?
Well, an evolution is definitely going on, and that's how it will be with everything that lives and breathes. I see black metal as a living genre, and we try to do everything we can in order to make it so, because if it stagnates, then it will also become uninteresting after a while, and what will be left is, the albums of the old days. But I haven't really seen so much of that kind of development before. I mean, there are lots of bands that have taken their music in a progressive direction, but I think what is very special about the new Satyricon album is that it's more alive, more dynamic, and more progressive than any previous works. But I also feel that it has a deeper darkness and a more menacing touch and a wilder aggression to it than any previous material as well. So it's basically so that what there has been quite a lot of before, there is even more of on the new album. We haven't really left that, but we have, made the material live a little bit more. And we have brought in themes, where we take everything down, which also makes the more explosive parts come through as even more frenetic and intense, because of the difference between the lows and the highs in the music. I've been sticking to, the original substance, and then I'm talking about, the energy and the moods, the vibes of the music. But we have, brought something to it that wasn't there from before, but we really haven't, left one place and gone to another. I think we have rather expanded our universe.
I totally agree, and that's exactly what we were saying. Like that's what we appreciated about your latest album. Is it seems like it's definitely evolved, and it's very mature. It's an awesome album, and he really loves it too. So he'll be stoked to hear all that.
Oh, very happy to hear that.
So you've been drumming for many years now, and there's a lot of drummers who would class you as an influence. And who inspires you when it comes to your own playing?
Most of all, I'm inspired by being in this fantastic band where I can work and where I have an arena for expressing myself and for developing as an artist. I go to work with enthusiasm, and I bring my heart and soul into it. Having such an instrument for expressing yourself and for growing is fantastic and more inspiring than anything else. But of course, I do listen to other drummers, and sometimes I could be motivated to try out things that I hear others are doing, just to kind of get in touch with it. And other times I'm just motivated by a display of musicianship or energy that appeals to me. As of late, I've started to listen quite a lot to what people in other genres are doing, and I've been, studying Buddy Rich's brilliant technique and his masterful control of the drums and how he managed to be one with his drumsticks and with his instrument. And that's inspiring in a way. And I've been paying quite a lot of attention to how the old hard rock drummers did it, because I think they were all geniuses, but expressing themselves in very different ways. I think that, John Bonham and Ian Pace, for instance, were really masters of their game, but in very, very different ways. And that is something that also has a certain inspiring effect upon me. So it's cool that you have YouTube these days and can actually watch how things were done, because even if they operated in past times, there's still quite a lot of footage of those drummers, and you could see how they worked and what kind of energy was on display. That's fantastic. Yeah,
that is awesome. No, definitely. We're really excited that you are coming all the way down here to play the Soundwave Festival. I guess, what are you looking forward to the most about your trip down under?
Oh, I think it's always brilliant to come to Australia. We have been there 2 times before, and it was a blast both of those 2 times. There's just something with the vibe that appeals to me, and I know the rest of the band feel the same way. But most of all, we look forward to meeting our fans again and present the new material to them. Since we ourselves are so satisfied with the new album, and since, playing it live is still very, very special to us, and since we have also had very, very good experiences playing the new material live for fans in Europe, then it's going to be very cool for us to play that material for our Australian fans, because we have been welcomed so warmly there before. So I think that is what really enthuses us the most right now, to actually be in Australia and playing material from the new album and be in that very particular moment, to feel what is going on between audience and band, given the vibe that Satyricon has these days. Because, even if we have been in Australia before, the band really develops, and we have taken big steps with the new album. So we feel that we're pretty much, different this time.
Well, I mean, it's like, I guess because you got that new album, you've got those new songs to play, the reaction could be different in different parts of the world or different nights. So I guess it would kind of feel like you're playing it for the first time, knowing that, that there's someone in that audience that might not have heard that song and they're experiencing it for the first time.
Exactly. So sensing that atmosphere and, that almost electric feeling you get when the interaction between band and crowd is particularly strong. That is really something.
you're also doing, saw today, a couple of side shows with War, a Monomath, and the Black Dahlia Murder, I believe. And that's going to be awesome. Like, I mean, we won't get it up here, but I have friends down in, I think it's Sydney and Melbourne, that are just absolutely stoked. I mean, you get to see you guys not only at the Soundwave, but they get to see you guys play another night as well with those other awesome bands. So that's another cool thing I guess a lot of people are really looking forward to, because they get to see you guys twice, you know, in the same city. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go to the track Our World It Rumbles tonight off the latest album. Thanks so much for taking the time to be on the show tonight, Frost, and we'll see you in Brisbane for the Soundwave Festival.
Yeah, see you then. I look forward to it.